Hey everyone, it's Miss Seifert. I'm sorry I'm not here today. There is a substitute, but I wanted to give you a heads up on everything you need to get done. First and foremost, today you'll be watching two different videos and you're going to be covering some new material, but we're going to do it quickly. And the material is soil development and erosion. So after the earth was made and cooled on the exterior, you had solid rock. How did that solid rock create soil? It's through a process called weathering and erosion. Weathering is when rock is broken down, and the two major types of weathering are by water or by wind. Water can break down rock by gravity, for example, raining on the rock or waterfalls that form over rock. But the other thing it can do is freeze and thaw. As you know, after we have a snowstorm, that thawing and refreezing creates potholes where the water seeps down and cracks in our roads and then freezes overnight, and it breaks up our roads, so we end up with lots of potholes around town. The other major type of erosion you'll be covering today is by wind. Wind happens when it blows against the rock, but a lot of times it's through what's called abrasion, meaning that small pieces of sand get blown into the rock and slowly chip away at it. So when we start out, we start with bedrock, as you can see over here. Not only did this happen millions of years ago, but also any time that we have a mudslide or something similar and we go back down to bedrock, you end up with this process starting over. Over time, that rock is worn away and it creates kind of grit and sand that occurs on the surface. And eventually plants start growing here. Mosses and plants tend to be the first thing. And they do what plants do. They grow, they reproduce, they die. So not only are their roots digging into that soil and using those minerals, but the dead plants create new organic matter, which eventually creates a soil. As organic matter builds up in the soil, it attracts things like bacteria and fungi and worms. So you end up with even more organic material just building into the soil. And this is where we see the development of what's called our A horizon. So our A horizon is nice organic material mixed with the broken down rock in what's classically known as our soil. And then you get into the C horizon, or just broken down rock, and eventually bedrock. Once soil is fully developed, over hundreds of years typically, you end up with an A horizon with that organic material. You have a B horizon, which is mainly soil, but you're not going to see as much organic material in it, fewer plant roots, that sort of thing. And you also then have your C horizon of broken down rock, and eventually below that is your bedrock. Want to make sure that you guys are clear. Humus, H-U-M-U-S, that organic material that's so critical to soil, is definitely not the same thing as hummus. And every single time I teach this, I get that question. Hummus is a dip made from chickpeas. It is not the same thing that's in soil. So soil, in terms of our economy, in terms of our food sources, is critically important. You probably remember studying the Dust Bowl back in the 1930s, where we did not practice good soil management, and the soil literally dried up and blew away, causing a major, major depression and complete disruption of our food system. So today you'll be watching two videos. The first one is SciShow Kids, What's the Dirt on Dirt? And the second one is a Bill Nye video on erosion. Now, you have this sheet of paper, which the substitute will provide to you, and you do in fact need to complete this. You need to turn this in at the end of class. The first video, you'll be filling out this side, and the Bill Nye video, you'll be filling out this side. Okay? Do at the end of class. Want to talk a little bit about next week, because next week's our last week before the SOL. You do have homework for Monday. Your review packet, right here, I know this thing is huge. Your review packet, you're going to need to do Unit 4. And that's several worksheets, but it's things we've worked on recently. So that is 4.6, 4.7, 4.8, 4.9, 4.10, and 11. These are the layers of the earth, the types of faults, boundary types, continental drift, earthquakes, plate tectonics in general, and Virginia geology. And remember that all answers are in the previous couple pages in the packet. So make sure you get this done for Monday, because we're going to be moving fast. Second thing is that if you need to stay after school next week, I will be here every day after school. I'm perfectly fine with staying here. I've got nothing else scheduled. I specifically blocked out next week, so I don't have any afternoon or evening appointments. And the only days that there are buses available are Tuesday and Thursday at 4:30. But if you can make arrangements for your parents to pick you up Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that's perfectly fine with me. I'm happy to stay and work with you on this stuff. SOL is still coming up May 23rd, so want to make sure you guys are as prepared for it as you possibly can be. We can get this knocked out, get that verified credit for high school. Hope all is well, and I will see you on Monday.